Aloha and welcome to the Woman Unleashed journey. My name is Amber Quile Malani Benici, and we are on day number 5. Today we are looking at awakening your power of receptivity. Now, each day we are looking at a different feminine power to really amplify your creativity, your vision, and your purpose. So each different power has something that can actually connect you, to tune you up, to awaken something within you. And there might be some powers that you're super strong at, and other ones you're like, oh gosh, didn't even know that that was something, right? So today we're looking at receptivity. Now, receptivity at the bottom line is really about relationship. It's about connection. And there are a lot of us that are very good at giving and not really so great at receiving. So we're going to take a look at that today. So first, looking at the power of receptivity. We've gone the outer edges, we're coming in now. The power of receptivity, where would you say you fall on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as receiving? And when I'm saying receiving anything. We're talking about just energetics here. So looking at receiving compliments, at receiving, like asking for services and receiving money for those services, receiving love, receiving pleasure, receiving joy. Where would you say you fall on a scale of 1 to 10 on the power of receiving? Now, this is actually a power that I learned. It was when my babies were young, and I was actually forced into learning this lesson. And we had moved here to Hawaii. I didn't know anyone, and I was newly pregnant. We had gotten rid of all our stuff, all of our baby things, all of our clothes when we moved here. And I didn't know anyone, and we also had no money. we were broke. I'll talk about that in a different power. We'll talk about the power of prosperity. So, but anyways, this one, I didn't know what to do. And so I was at an event, and I was speaking to a woman. I said, actually, she said, how are you doing? Because I was freshly moved here. I'm like, I'm good. She's like, oh, was there anything you need? I said, well, actually, I'm having a baby, and I don't really have, stuff. And she's like, oh my gosh. She was so excited. So she talked to all her different people, baby people. Next thing you know, I've got clothes, I've got diapers, people are dropping off food, people are bring tons of stuff. And there was this part of me that was like, I don't want the help, and there was this other part that was just so grateful for the help. Here's the thing. As a giver, you can look totally together. You can be like, I've got everything together. And you can hold up that front. But as a receiver, you have to open to vulnerability. You have to open to something deeper. And in that, there's magic. Because here's what I saw is the people that were delivering and giving things, they felt so good. Think about when you're giving, really from your heart giving, how amazing it feels. So there's something about taking that away when you're not actually opening up to the power of receptivity. So let's take a look at the power of receptivity and how you can work with it. So there's really 2 different sides. There is giving, and there is receiving. Oh, I don't know how to spell receiving. I think that's a receiving. So what happens when we're talking about relationship and we're talking about connection is that there's an imbalance here, right? So maybe you're really good at giving. Really great at giving. Giving. But you're blocking receiving. And what happens is there's an energy out. We talked about energy and the power of nurturing, right? So there's an energy out that's going out. But there's not stuff coming back. You're kind of going no, I'm totally good. And what that does is, I talked about vulnerability here. It actually places a divide between you and the other person. Because there's this feeling of oh, you're giving to me, but you don't need anything, right? Or there's no way that I can help you. So it creates a disconnection. What happens when you're over-giving then, all sorts of other things start to pop up, right? For example, you feel like a martyr. You want to be recognized for all your giving, and they don't appreciate you. That starts to come up. Also thinking about that space of, if you're over-giving, getting exhausted, which we talked about with the nurturing. It's that overwhelm, tired. That's what happens when you overgive, right? So now let's talk about the receiving piece, right? If you're on the other side, you're receiving and you're like, no, thank you. Yeah, I'm good. Then what happens here, like if someone's giving to you, and you're blocking that receiving from coming in, then there's things that are going to pop up on that side too. Like if you're not receiving, you're not actually able to, like I think about like with my work, right? If I didn't receive help from people around me, like I would be stuck. I would still be in the same place I was years and years and years ago. The reason that I've gotten ahead, that I've moved forward, is because I've opened up to receive support and received help, right? So that's one piece about the receiving. Thinking about money, like if you are someone who is wanting to receive money for your services, if you are blocking your receptivity in other areas, it's going to show up with money too. It's kind of like, oh yeah, I would love to make money, selling my paintings, and then you get like really weird around it, right? So energetically you're saying, no, do not give me anything, like no money, no, 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 right? So it's looking at like how to open this up, how to open, right? So that you can start to build relationship and feel that giving, receiving, this cycle starts to work instead of it being like broken part way. Yeah. So now this is the inquiry for you is where, or what is one thing actually that you have a hard time receiving, okay, sharing in the group. So maybe it's compliments, maybe it's money for services, maybe it's help. What is one thing that you are blocking receiving? And today, seeing, okay, what can you do to open that up? Because I promise you on the other side is freedom. All right,